Which is the best virtual reality headset in 2024? Well, in this video, you're going to find out. I'm going to compare the PSVR2 with the Pimax Crystal. I'm going to go through graphics. I'm going to go through pricing, games availability, comfort, motion sickness, everything you need to know if you're thinking about diving into the world of VR. 2024 is the best year to get a VR headset, but what's best for you? I'm going to start off here with the PSVR2, the one I've got on my hand here. There are certain areas where this is the best VR headset in the world, and the first one of those by far is convenience and just ease of setup. See this cable that comes out the back here? Just one cable. This cable is the only thing that plugs into anything of this headset. So one cable into your PS5, it does the power, it does the data, it does everything. Then you separately have your PlayStation VR controllers. You can charge them through USB-C, or you can put them in a docking station. That just is really frustrating. But that's all you have. This is PSVR2. There's no base station. There's no camera. Those of you that also had PSVR1, you remember the horrendous camera. There's none of that. It's just this. It's super, super, super simple. So this is the Pimax Crystal. This is a PC VR headset. It's one of the best VR headsets you can get in the world right now. This is genuinely cutting edge, like living in the future is this thing. But we're going to get onto that later. We're going to talk about graphics and the gameplay and all this other stuff. We're going to start off here with ease of use. So there is one cable that comes out the headset of this one here. It is a proprietary sort of connector that goes into a connector here. So you have to plug it in. And then it's not as simple as the PSVR2 on the other end. It goes into a button box that splits out into USB-C and also HDMI display port, I can't remember, and it goes into the PC. Then also, because it's Windows, you have to update firmware. The software is a combination of the Pimax software and Valve Steam VR, so there's just more steps to go through, more hurdles. You have to calibrate, or I calibrate the headset every time I do it. PSVR doesn't seem to want to do that, so it's a little bit more fussy, a bit like a sports car is more fussy than a regular car, because the experience when you put this on is insane. Now, when it comes to pricing, I think it's a big win for the PSVR2. I'm going to let you know why. This headset is very expensive. It comes in at £500. For people that are used to playing on a console with just a controller, that's a crazy amount of money. And you also need to have a PS5 to power it. So this is useless on its own. It doesn't do anything. So the PS5 these days is about £350, £500. You're talking about £850 to get your setup. Now, with a Pimax Crystal, the pricing fluctuates all the time. I do have an affiliate code for that I think gets you about 8% off, but that is well over £1,000 or $1,000, and you also need a beastly graphics card to actually power it. So you're talking like a beastly PC and a headset. You're talking probably at least £2,000. So the PSVR2 is essentially half the price of the Pimax Crystal, and that leads us on to, are you getting an experience that is worth half the price? You know what I mean. Well, let's have a look at the games. We're here in Half-Life Alyx, which is probably, well, some people say it's the best VR game ever made. So let's go in here, and I'm telling you, what you see is going to be the same as I see. So I'm getting a pop-up now. It's automatically centering the lenses to match my eyes, doing the IPD. It's got little modes in there, I believe, that were, and then it goes exactly where it needs to be. And this is a 100% 4K experience. This is mad. I'm getting like some haze in the distance there to these cables that seem to be swaying a little bit. Tiny pixels. I can't see it go up into the sky. We've got these helicopters, look like they're in the distance. This pigeon here, I mean, the pigeon is just mad. Can we... Bro, the pigeon's insane. It's just absolutely incredible detail here. And the closer you get to objects, they're immaculately detailed. There's no blurring here. There's none of that. It's just absolutely insane. So the controllers are a little bit different. You can see here, hopefully, how it's working. So if I just move my hand and even touch this without applying any pressure, it moves it. The same here. So this button is the same. That's without applying any pressure. Like, I'm not even touching it right now, I feel like. So then I've got all the movement here. If I just touch the face buttons, the thumb moves around it. So, and then there's different levels of, actually you can see you can see the hands moving closer like that. So there's quite a lot of fidelity. It looks pretty rough, I think, when you look at it, but it sort of makes sense in VR. Although I think the animations they've obviously had to do a tough thing to do a quick animation or a slow animation there. But I'm telling you, this is just completely different level when it comes to fidelity. There is no, look at the birds there in the distance. I mean, those birds, because it feels like a 4K experience and because how small they are, it feels like they're genuinely that distance away. You don't get that in PSVR2 because you just don't quite have the detail. I mean, I don't know if it's volumetric fog or something, but you see a helicopter right up there. It's insane. But what about the actual experience today? I'm going to show you. We're going to find out what it's like. This is as if I was putting it on for the first time. So I'm going to put it on. This is way more comfortable than the Pimax to put on because you put this in and it slides all the way back, as you'll see. I'll be honest, compared to the Pimax, that is completely painless. The Pimax, you have to be in Windows and it's all like Windows stuff. This is all in the game. Now, I want to be really clear with you, everyone. When I bought this headset at launch, I'd seen a lot of previews and reviews saying this is, wow, 4K experience. This is not a 4K experience in here. This is not as clear as a Pimax Crystal. But that text is a lot clearer than I distinctly remember when I first got this headset. There have definitely been updates that have worked on the filtering or whatever, because that text specifically is very crisp. Now, there's a lot of fuzziness I can see around, and that's what you get with the PSVR2. And I'm already now in the magic space. I mean, this is just so good. This is just the way you interact with objects. I can't explain it, but this feels like I feel like I'm in a kayak in a swimming pool, and in real life, if there was a little inflatable ball here, you know you would do this, right? Because you just want to play with the physics with humans. And that's what I'm doing right now. And I wish I could reach out and grab it. Boink. Now, one of the issues I had with this headset when it first came out was lack of tracking. It would lose the tracking very easily. So have a look if I get a bit of distance from where I am with the front of my kayak. But I have to say, and I'm going on memory here, but I use a lot of technology. I buy a lot of technology with my own money. I'm very sensitive to technology, the changes. I'm very sensitive to frame rate and tearing and things like that. This is definitely a better graphical experience than there was at launch. 100%. I know Sony are really vague with their patch notes and they don't really say anything, but this is 100% a better experience. There was some sort of dithering and blurriness and graininess at launch that was really bad. Now we're going to go into Gran Turismo because there's different ways that the PSVR2 headset runs. It's what you know that it either runs using reprojection, which is a very clever, complicated software solution to maintaining a high frame rate. It's all the vogue right now with AMD, FSR, stuff like that. But I think it was John Carmack at Oculus who came up with this solution to basically predict in-between frames, sort of like frame interpolation. And that means that this is running at a dedicated, I believe, 120 hertz. There's 120 frames being delivered every second. Now, something like Gran Turismo, I believe, I might get this wrong, but I believe it's doing 45, and every other frame is a motion interpolated frame, which is why you get blurriness. Now, they don't say that on the front. It's a technical thing that is not present when you buy the game, but there we go. Now, I've got so many games installed here. I want to show you another one, so let's go home. Red Matter is probably the best looking game. This is 100% clearer than it was before. They have improved this. They have definitely improved this. And it's surprising that I'm not hearing more about it, because I guess all the influencers have moved on to the next thing that they've been given. But yeah, this is impressive actually. This is actually impressive. Now, we'll be clear, there is a what I call a lint effect. I can see it particularly here, I'm not sure why, but you won't be able to see this on your screen. So through the headset, I can see sort of the pixels, maybe not the right word, I can see the lens fixed in the same space to my eye. So when everything else is moving, VR is a magical experience. So when I'm moving my head right now, that rock looks absolutely... I think they fixed the tracking. I think the tracking has been fixed, and that's why everything looks... It's unbelievable when you think about it, how this works. When my head moves, everything else moves in the other direction to compensate, if that makes sense. To fix it in place, and the immersion is one-to-one. There's no, like, oh, everything's shifting around me, and I think that was an issue before. But compared to PSVR2, there is no lint effect at all. There's no lint effect. I've got the same incredible immersion of when I move my head, the pixels move in the opposite direction, but there's absolutely no mura or graininess. It just feels like I'm in this environment. So I want to show you inside here. I mean, it grabs you. It all adds up and it tricks the brain. You could possibly see the way I flinched there when that leg or arm came. It just feels real, and obviously Valve know what they're doing, one of the best in the business. But have a look at this thing here. This little creature is just so detailed, and the lighting and the animation, it is very, very, very uncanny. And if you played Half-Life Alyx, let me know in the comments. But this is something that you just do not get anywhere in PSVR2. Even the really high points in red matter, you just don't get it. This is just, I think, the pinnacle of what you can experience in VR right now. And what you're seeing on the screen, almost certainly, unlike PSVR2, is actually not as realistic and immersive as what I'm seeing in my headset. So just remember that in PSVR2, what you're seeing on your screen is better than what you experience in the headset. Here, I'm almost convinced that what I'm seeing right now in 3D is just better. And there must be a way of getting this lad out of here. But unfortunately, I can't quite work it out. I think he wants to come out as well, doesn't he? Then the other items in the game, to be honest, things like this, PSVR2, I'm used to being later in the game. Things like PSVR2, pick it up, do quite well, because these small items, they can be heavily detailed. And again, I think red matter is a good example of that, where you can pick up the cards that get printed out and they look very realistic and the lighting's great. But it's these animated ones that's a completely different level. Now this is a big one. I want to go into Gran Turismo here and show you in Gran Turismo, because this was a controversial one. This is where the graphics really were not as good. What we want to do is, I want to go to my garage, and here you will see a little thing called VR Showroom. And I'll be honest, for a lot of people, this is all you need. This is really good. I'm going to go outside to, I think it's Valencia. Yeah, Gran Turismo is still definitely blurry, which is interesting. So Gran Turismo looks, as I remember it, like very soft, very blurry, very sort of blurry edges to things. Still stunning. I can still feel the sort of matte paint here. So anywhere I can see gloss, like I can see the gloss on the back, and I can see the matte paint there and really appreciate it. You can get really close in here. But it's definitely not a 4K experience. It's very, very, very blurry to me. But again, I'm sensitive to that. But it's super cool seeing the cars up close that we're used to racing. And look how ridiculously small this mirror is. But there we go. This is the graphical experience of PSVR 2. Now let's head over to the Pimax, which is different gravy. So it is worth saying that the price you have to pay for all this incredible immersion is price. and that is partly in the headset itself, which is over $1,000, over £1,000, and then you'll need quite a big, heavy CPU and GPU to push these things, particularly the GPU. I've got a 4090, but you can see here, like, can look into this thing and move it around, and it all feels so tangible, and there's no delay. Believe we're running at 90 hertz here, but it's very, very, very GPU intensive, incredibly GPU intensive. So it's not just the headset you're going to need to pick up. You also need to buy other stuff as well. And I want to show you something here when I come out of this lift. This is where you're going to see something that, again, is just not something I've ever experienced in PSVR2. Are you ready?
Wait, I just live here.
Probably anti-citizen. Get those hands off!
Wait, don't shoot.
Area secure in the
Didn't steal anything.
Don't care. What did you see?
No one! I didn't see anyone!
Get it out and take it to the transport.
Dad! Hey, wait, no!
I mean, that is just very, very, very intimidating. Like, and that's because of the presence, because of the detail. It all comes together for those sort of experiences. I mean, you can have some crazy experiences in PSVR2 and also the Pimax Crystal, but the Crystal is just a different level when it comes to that sort of stuff. Right, what about comfort and motion sickness? Oh my god, I dropped my sword! When it comes to comfort, you can see here I'm in full sort of moving around with my joystick. Now, I recommend if you're new to VR, you don't do this because it will make you sick, as my guy is still chasing us. So you can have different modes where you teleport, but this PSVR2 headset is very, very, very light. It's not putting any pressure onto the bridge of my nose, which is good. Can I take his bow? Oh, yes. How do you... Oh, I'm so sorry I shot you in the face. It doesn't put any pressure... Goodness me, what is this? Oh, my word. There's a massive... There's a thing. Hello. Good evening. We pet it. Like a little pet. My guy, we got bigger... Oh, I've died. Anyway, I meant to tell you about comfort here. You can do things like put a fan in your face. Now, the biggest issue I had with PSVR previously, and especially in this room, and so I can do a one-to-one comparison, is that I would drift. I would be moving now. And you can see now, there is no movement whatsoever. So they have definitely fixed it, and that means... Can I pick up this loop?
You got coin?
So frustrating when you can't interact with stuff. But they've definitely fixed that, and that means that this is now way more comforting space than me, because I'm not having this slight dissonance with my brain and where I am here, because I'm just in the one-to-one, I'm not moving, my hands are here, and that's great. So that's awesome. What about the Pimax Crystal? Is it comfortable? Well, the Pimax Crystal is a little bit heavier, so it does apply a little bit of pressure on my nose here. It's just because it's a heavier headset, there's more stuff going on. As I'm about to get broken out of this van. But for me, it feels very comfortable. It's not hot at all. I've done really long sessions in this thing. Have I died? No, I haven't died. I'm about to get broken out. But it's worth saying that it is heavier on the front of your nose, just so you know. That's the price you pay for having these bigger screens, higher quality screens. But I don't notice the cable at all. Doesn't matter to me that it's not wireless. And when it comes to motion sickness, I don't have anything. I mean, the tracking is really, really, really good here. Again, there's no base station needed. So for me, no issues. But your mileage will vary, and I really recommend that you try these out in a proper environment. And look at the smoke there. I don't know if it's coming across. Look at the smoke past that building, and it feels like that whole structure is a massive place, which maybe in this game we will go and explore, I don't know. But it just adds to a sense of believability. Look at the way that the sun's light is sort of diffused over the top. It's very sort of cyberpunk-esque. And Yeah, absolutely mad. So let's talk about game availability. So on the Pimax Crystal, you got the big ones like Half-Life Alyx. You've got the big sims like ACC, iRacing, and you've got all of the ones pretty much you have on console as well, like Beat Saber and those ones. You don't have Horizon Call of the Wild, but I don't think Horizon Call of the Wild is the best VR experience you can get. Wow, look at these massive cables. So I'm going to go in now and have a look at Steam in VR. So if you have an existing Steam library, you might actually have loads of apps already. So I've got ACC, Dirt Rally, Elite Dangerous, Half-Life Alyx, Kartcraft, Project Cars 2. So you can see here are the games on my PlayStation 5 at the moment. Gran Turismo 7, I do a lot. Warzone, they gave me a code to do some promo for Warzone, that's why I've got that. And then I've got my PSVR2 games. I got Red Matter, which is a game that looks really good on the PSVR2. I've got Pavlov, that's kind of like a Call of Duty light. I've got Kayak, that is a incredible experience on PSVR2. Swordsman, where I just always end up like on my knees stabbing people. Drums of Rot, Light Brigade, and there's loads of other games as well. But I've got to be honest with you, I don't think there are enough what could be termed as killer apps when it comes to PSVR2 games. I remember PSVR 1, you had the Astrobot Adventure. You also had stuff like Blood and Truth, which was incredible as well. Now, there is normally a PSVR 2 section here. Here you go. If you go to VR, you got PSVR 2, and this is what we have right now. Gran Turismo 7, of course, is arguably actually the killer app for PSVR 2. There's loads of footage you can see on that on screen now. Then you've got Resident Evil 4, you've got Resident Evil Village, they're classic VR games. Beat Saber is now on PSVR 2. I don't really have the space to do it, but for a lot of people, that's a killer app, so fair play. Gun Club is a great game. Among Us VR sounds great. Horizon is the big first-party, like bespoke VR game on PlayStation VR 2. You've got Creed, which is a boxing game. Star Wars, which I don't think is that good. Crossfire, which I want to get into. There's Red Matter. And then we've got all sorts of other games that are now. Wingman looks good as well. Pistol Whip is meant to be really good. Red Matter 2, I've got Firewall Ultra is meant to be really good. So there's more games coming. Moss, people are like Moss. There's Bulletstorm VR as well. So the Light Brigade is this sort of roguelike one that I play from time to time. VR Skater looks fun. So there's a lot of decent games coming now. Res Infinite as well. This is a Zombieland's like on a rail shooter. So just showing you here, Unplugged Air Guitar does sound kind of fun. After the Fall is a co-op game that I've had some good fun in. Cities VR might be fun, might be kind of cute. So you can see here, there's definitely actually been a lot more games that are just consistently added Runner as well to the platform. But they're not big games. There's no Half-Life Alyx here. So the Pimax Crystal feels like a industrial level, kind of military level piece of equipment. It feels like the military, the army could use this to do sort of shooting simulations, or the Air Force to do, flight simulations. It's that good. Formula One teams could use it to run their simulations. It's a crazy piece of hardware. There is a big price difference, but there is also a big difference in the quality and experience. And when you're going in VR, it's all about tricking your mind into believing that you are somewhere else. And therefore, these things really do add up. It's way more significant than graphics in 2D, in my opinion anyway. So I hope this has helped you kind of understand the difference between different hardware. The Pimax is sort of looking into the future. It's a futuristic device that we can use now. The PSVR2 is a mass market device that brings virtual reality to so many more people. So I recommend that you try out virtual reality at an expo or a friend's house or somewhere like that. If you do want to buy a Pimax, I think I have a discount code for you in the description, but I recommend you try VR first because it's not going to be for everyone. But hopefully there's going to be some people watching this video that are curious and do try out VR, maybe go on a VR journey yourself. And yeah, some great options out there. Personally, for me, the Pimax is a step above, but I'm lucky that I've got the equipment to run it. There we go. More VR videos around here if you want to view more stuff, and I will see you next time.